Hello, friends. Good to see all of you, meet all of you through this medium. I am Rajesh Trivedi, the managing trustee of Alert. And Alert is an NGO that works towards a better emergency response ecosystem in India and marching very steadily towards the goal given to Alert by the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, who told us to train at least one in every family in emergency response management so that people like you and me and any common man will feel empowered to save more lives. So we all are aware, as to the emergency situations we might get into that comes unannounced. It could happen because of a road traffic accident, or it could happen in your workplace. It could happen in your homes, or being fitness enthusiasts. It could happen when you're out there, doing your endurance, during your run, during your cycling, so on and so forth. So without too much emphasis really need not be given, but it is a commonsensical thing that the first few minutes that is so required for us to attend and do whatever we can during an emergency situation, doctors tell us that will go a long way in putting the victim on the path of recovery at the earliest and in the most effective manner. If you look at the way India is, the statistics are alarming, in terms of the number of people who lose lives because of lack of available, help at the right time, right kind of help at the right time. And 75% of the deaths that happen in hospital, doctors say that could have been saved if the right kind of first response was made available. So Alert that was found in 2006 is precisely focused on empowering as many people as possible, and we are very glad to meet you today through this medium. We have been partnering with many of the running events that happen in Chennai, the Chennai runners, and many other running events where our trained responders support in terms of handling any kind of a emergency situation or a situation that is needing an immediate first response and address that specific precious gap before the ambulance arrives. So today we are going to be taking a look at some very fundamental topics, very fundamental, something that we will know in our day-to-day life and encounter in day-to-day life. You could encounter it in your daily activities, daily runs, daily cyclings that you do, and all that. All the way starting from, let's say, some emergencies that occur because of heat, all the way until something that can challenge your vitals, that can be life-threatening. Suddenly somebody collapses. Suddenly, probably it's a cardiac arrest. We do not know. But the first few minutes of help in any of those situations, we as a person, as a first responder, as a person who knows how to handle those first few minutes until professional help arrives, is very crucial. You could be finally ending up saving or helping your co-runner or co-cyclist perform better, come back to recover better and all that, because of that simple one act of yours that you could do in the right time. So getting ourselves empowered is so important. I'm not going to overemphasize on that. So with that, let us move on to the session that you're going to go through today. I have with us, we have with us the master trainer from Alert NGO, Mr. Karthik Venkatesan, who will run you through all these topics. And today we also have with us Coach K from the K's Fitness Academy, the event director of ALERTATHON 2020, who will also give us some inputs related to endurance and for things that occur and things that to keep in mind when it comes to any sporting activity. We will talk probably towards the end as well about the ALERTATHON 2020 and how you can be a part of it, and this important message of saving lives and our role in saving lives can be spread across. So with that, I will hand off the session to Mr. Karthik, who will run us through the rest of the program, which is crucial for us to learn and crucial for us to ensure that we empower ourselves to save more lives. So here we go.
This is Karthik from Alert NGO. I hope most of you know about what is Alert and what is Alert. All our Chennai marathon, we used to be there, and we ensure that event will be happen in a safer way, and we'll ensure all the medical situations are addressed immediately by our first responders. So thank you so much once again for this wonderful opportunity to meet you again. Apart from event, this is in this program, meeting you all is really happy for me. Myself, I'm Karthik Venkatesan. I'm going to be the trainer as a first aid and medical emergency in this show. And we have Mr. K, Coach K from the KFIT Academy, also to address about some sports related things. ஸோ இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போறது மெயினா வந்து என்ன அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா only that we are into sports, yes, fine, absolutely fine, but அங்க வந்து are you sure that we are not facing any medical emergency, or in case என்ன நடந்துருச்சுன்னா என்ன பண்றது? There are so many incidents we have so far here, right? So ஏன் நம்ம ஈவென்ட்லயே கூட சடனா வந்து லேக் ஆஃப் ப்ராக்டிஸா இருக்கலாம், இல்ல எந்துவா இருக்கலாம், இல்ல சம் மெடிக்கல் கண்டிஷன் சடனா வரலாம். நிறைய பேர் அன்கான்சியஸ் ஆயிடுவாங்க. வி டோன்ட் நோ எக்ஸாக்ட்லி வாட் டு டு. அண்ட் மோஸ்ட் ஆஃப் த டைம்ஸ் மேரத்தான்ஸ்ல வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா the cramp is going to be the மெயின் ஒன். இந்த அவங்களுடைய ஃப்ளோவை கட் பண்ணக்கூடிய ஒரு மெயின் ஸ்டாப்பரா இருக்கும் நிறைய நேரத்துல. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு சுச்சுவேஷன்லாம் வரும்போது வந்து அங்க யாராவது நம்மளுக்கு ஹெல்ப் இருந்தாங்கன்னா அப்சல்யூட்லி ஃபைன். வாட் இன் கேஸ் இஃப் தேர் இஸ் நோ ஒன் to help or support that situation, and as a coroner, how we can go into, how we can ensure that we are helping that coroner அப்படின்றத பத்தி தான் இன்னைக்கு இந்த ஷோல நம்ம பார்க்க போறோம். Now I'm going to introduce the topic called as a first thing is heat related emergency. When body used to work out lot, mean we are constantly working for some routine thing. For example, if we are a cyclist, we are used to pedal a cycle lot, right? We used to go for 100 kilometer, 200 kilometer, 300 kilometers. We used to pedal a lot, and that time what happened, our calf muscles will get skews. So that is one example. And another example is in the marathon, or when we are jogging for 10 kilometer, more than 10 kilometer, or a full marathon or ultra marathon, whatever it is, then the same thing will happen. Muscles will start skews at certain point. Without practice, it will be happening within the very first 5 kilometers itself. So and that time you supposed to relax your body, make sure that cramp was released properly, and then you have to continue further. So these kind of situations and all fall into the category called heat related emergency. So today I'm going to introduce that the very first one in this is called cramp, heat cramp. Okay, so far I have mentioned all the examples for the same symptoms. So muscle pain, and you are unable to put the next step. After that, the muscles will make you so much of pain, and you're in the you don't know what to do exactly in most of the time. So the main reason what is going to be is a lack of water, and one thing, and another thing is the muscle which you're used to put on the routine thing, right? So அது வந்து நல்லா டைட் ஆயிட்டு இருக்கும். The muscle will get skews like anything, and then that will induce the more pain. So in this kind of situation, as a sports person, we supposed to stop our routine for some time. It's like a small break. Okay, so அந்த பிரேக்ல நம்ம வந்து என்ன பண்ண போறோம் அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, we'll take some electrolyte something, or juice something. அந்த மாதிரி நீங்க எடுத்துக்கிறதுனால you feel better sometime. And most of the time we as a first responders in the events will suggest, sir, nothing to worry, just lie down on the road. You have to relax your muscles sometimes. So we'll make sure the victim, that runner, is sleeping on the floor, or it can be on the most of the time on the road only. Okay, and we will massage the calf muscles, and wherever it is they are saying it's painful, right? So we have to relax that muscle for some time, and then after that you have to continue your routine. So this is the main thing we have to do. So that is the first symptom, that saying your body got heated, and you are constantly doing some routine work. That's why the muscle got squeezed like anything. Okay, that induces the pain. So in this situation also, you are not stopping your routine, and you are still proceeding for further, and then you are continuing your routine, mean you're still continuing running, or still cycling. And the next thing, the body will move on to the next thing, that is called heat exhaustion. The body will get much more heater, and it will sweat a lot. After some point, there is no water to sweat out, so it feels like too much of heat in your body. That's a hot wave around you. So these are all the situation mainly called heat exhaustion. It's exhausting, all right? So So in this situation, you feel really weak, you feel thirsty, you feel nausea, and you feel rapid pulse that you really need some rest. That is the indication that body is giving to you on that situation. So what, as a person, you supposed to do on that time? Stop your routine. You have to stop that routine because the body is not supporting further. When you're conscious, when you're energetic, then only you can proceed, right? So stop the movement sometime and then go to some shady place, take a rest. All the bodies need some rest to gain some energy and relaxness, and cool down the body temperature. Okay, so as a person, what we first responders, we used to do, we provide the cold sponge, or we spray the water to the person so that the body temperature will get reduced little bit, right? So nowadays there's a sponge with water, ice water, they used to squeeze on the head, right, while running the marathon. So that is what mostly we'll try to reduce. That is how we mostly try to reduce the body temperature. And the another thing is, what we can able to do, if the person have enough time and the person able to spend some time in the shady place, we can loosen off the cloth, and then we'll provide some cold sponge, and I will ask them to take some juices or electrolyte something, so that the person will gain much more energy, and then we'll ask them to continue further. So here, if you're not stopping, then the body will become much more heated, and then the person may face the heat stroke kind of situation. What is heat stroke? Due to energy loss, due to there is no body energy electrolyte, the body feels so much of heat that will throw into the sudden heat stroke. That's mean unconscious state. The person will get unconscious all of a sudden. You can see the person will collapse at front of you literally, and we can't do anything. We cannot put sometimes in the shady place also, you won't recover, because this situation required hospitalization. He lost entire energy in his body. So we have to shift him to hospital and provide proper treatment. Based on the treatment only, he will get some energy. So we have to provide the what to say, that through medicine, or the whichever the way the doctor suggests. Through that only we can make him to consciousness. So in this kind of situation, as a first responder, we have no option to do anything apart from putting into a recovery position and wait for ambulance. Or you can do one more thing, that is, you can provide cold sponge. We can reduce the body temperature. That is the max we can able to do. And otherwise we cannot able to do anything. We can't even offer some water or anything, because the victim is unconscious. Most of the time we don't know how to handle this kind of situation, right? So in this course, this kind of courses will explain you how you supposed to treat unconscious victim, where either it can be a heat stroke, or it can be due to some other medical issues, like BP, sugar, or person is not taking enough food properly, a diet not maintaining well. So this kind of situation, there's a technique called BLS, that is basic life support. That is, until medical care come, the common man supposed to provide. That is the basic life support that I'll address anyway in end of this course. But when you face a heat cramp, it is always advisable that you're supposed to stop your routine and make sure you gain much more energy and your muscle got relaxed, and then continue further. If you want to achieve your goal and you have to make sure you're reaching on time, then spending this kind of small breaks are also very important. So heat cramp, when you face, that is the first indication your body is showing that it cannot obey further your what do you want to do. Okay, so you have to stop your activity on that position, and then take rest, and then proceed further. Otherwise it will throw into heat exhaustion, and then heat stroke. It leads to death also most of the time. So it's better we can avoid that kind of situation. Okay, so these are all generally called heat related emergency. But what in case if somebody fall down? It can be any other situation, like in the sports activity. Somebody fall down, and then the skin got damaged, and people bleeding suddenly due to that skin damage. Okay, So this is a situation we generally call bleeding. It can be happened in during cycling activity. It can be happened during the motorcycle a long ride, or it can be happening in the ultra trucks and sometimes in the mountain where we slip, and then we may face this kind of situation. So as a first responder, we have to react immediately. There are so many different kind of bleedings we have. So first thing is what we are going to address is called abrasion. So what is abrasion? The first layer of skin will get peeled off. The first layer of skin will get peeled up. Okay, it's due to the hard surface, or is there any sharp object like a sharp stone, glass pieces, or iron rust or something that is good enough to damage your skin layer. So due to that, the excessive blood will come out, and the person may suffer due to that. So as a first responder, as a co-runner, as a person, what we have to do immediately, we have to clean the area first. This is very, very important. Otherwise, the infection will occur. Blood is contacting the skin tone, skin layer after that incident. So that what happened, we don't know what is on the road, right? Especially so many infections can be happen. So immediately, if possible, if you have some first aid kit or something in your hand, then take some water, and then put some antiseptic diluted with that. Take some Dettol or Savlon something, and then mix with some water, and then pour on the injured area, then clean that portion cleanly, and then take a clean dry piece of cloth always for use in the bleeding situation. Okay, when you are facing any bleeding situation yourself also, take a clean dry piece of cloth. Don't use wet cloth. Most of the time our mind will go wet cloth is the most sufficient one in this case, but no. Actual thing is we have to take a clean dry piece of cloth, and then arrest the wound directly by putting pressure on the wound, okay, top of the wound, and then arrest tightly and elevate above the heart level. This is how you have to raise your hand. This is how you have to raise your hand above the heart level. If it is hand, we can easily raise. Okay, what in case if the damage occurred in any one of your leg? Okay, and you can able to see the presentation here. The man is lying down, and then the injured leg was elevated little bit. So this is how we have to elevate the leg. So what happened? We are reducing the pressure point. We are reducing the pressure to that wound area, and then it's easy for us to arrest the further bleeding happens. How long you are going to arrest this portion? Maximum 5 to 10 minutes. Maximum 5 to 10 minutes. What happened during this situation? You are arresting the blood, whatever the amount of blood came out, and then stuck into the cloth, that will get dry. Once it got dry, the blood have a natural tendency of getting clot itself. It will form a natural layer of blood clot, and then it stops further bleeding. Until that, we need some support, where we have to put some dry cloth and then elevate above the heart level. What do you put wet cloth in this situation? What happened? It will ensure that blood is not getting dry. The blood have a natural tendency, but by mistake of what we have placed on the wound, that wet cloth is ensuring that blood is not getting dry at all. So that what happened, it's keep on it's ensuring that bleeding is happening further. Okay, it won't absorb, but it will help the bleed to come out further. So you have to use the dry clean piece of cloth always. And what in case the wound is bigger, and whatever the amount of cloth we have placed on the wound that is not enough, then take another cloth and add on it. Don't remove and then replace it. Don't replace anything. Okay, you have to do add on kind of thing here, so that the first blood in the first clot, that will ensure the blood clot immediately. That you have to maintain in this situation. What in case if any of the injury happened in the head layer, then make sure if the victim is conscious and he can able to sit down properly, then make sure the victim body position like this, because naturally the head is above the heart level. You have to maintain the same. But the critical thing is, whenever injury happen in the head, we feel dizziness. Immediately we feel dizziness, and we want to sleep, lie down. We have to lie down properly, then only we feel convenient, right? So on that situation, if you are unable to hold the victim like this sitting position, then make sure he is lying down in the right order, and then arrest the wound directly. Arrest the wound by putting the direct pressure. Okay, so this is for bleeding. And when you have a first aid kit with you and you have ensured this thing can happen, and you want to help others and you're carrying a first aid kit, so when you're doing a dressing, make sure you're not putting the cotton directly on the wound. What happens when you put the cotton directly on the wound? It will stick with the blade, it will stick with the wound, and after it's got clotted, it's very difficult to remove from that place, and again it will induce more pain and new wound on the area. So don't put the cotton directly on the wound. What you supposed to do, make sure that gauze cloth, you took some gauze cloth and then covered with that you take a cotton and then covered with some gauze cloth and then apply that portion on the wound. So this is called gauze swab generally. That gauze swab on the wound first and then arrest tightly. This is how we have to use the first aid kit. Don't put cotton directly on the wound. Always use the cloth layer first and then cotton next. Okay. And apart from these three area, arm, leg and head, okay, if some other area or in any other body part have facing the bleeding situation, then what you supposed to do, you have to put direct pressure only. For example, chest region, abdomen region, belly region and thighs. In this area, if any bleeding happens, then chances of blood loss can be high. Comparatively, arms or leg and head area, these areas will bleed extremely, and then immediately the person may faint. That situation also can happen due to the excessive blood loss. So what you supposed to do, put direct pressure on the wound if these areas anywhere bleeding happens. These are all the mostly very below the heart level, first of all, below the heart level area, and you cannot elevate above the heart level as well, and very soft skin places where you can immediately the breakage will happen, that a broken or a skin tear will happen, and then excessive bleed can happen. So you have to put direct pressure apart from arm, leg and head area. Okay, if any impacts go further deep in your body, and then the victim faces a fracture kind of situation apart from wound, if the impact reaches to the bone, that is called actually fracture. Okay, any fracture or dislocation, or when the victim is very inconvenient to move any of the body portion, is saying that too much of pain, and you don't know whether it's a hair crack or it's a bone become two pieces, you have no idea. Only when you see the shape of the bone is completely different, then we can assume that's a fracture. But most of the time air crack can also happen, that is also induce the same amount of pain to the victim, irrespective of children or adult. They cannot bear the pain at all in this situation. So the only first aid what we can able to provide in this situation is called immobilization the part. Immobilize the part, that is very important. When you mobilize, then the pain will induce, isn't it? So what you have to do, just immobilize it. Just immobilize it. For a leg, what we can able to do, here also only few portions we can able to handle. Rest of the portions we don't have options to do. But as a first responder, for leg fracture, any one leg got fractured, the entire leg region you supposed to arrest. The entire leg region you supposed to arrest by using some splint or some rolled paper, newspaper, or rolled monthly calendar, something, whatever is available next to you. You cannot go and buy something properly and then cover on the road and all, right? So take something is next to you, dry wood or a plastic pipe, or a rolled newspaper, or rolled monthly calendar, or some cardboard, something, place next to the broken bone, entire up to from thighs to ankle, and then cover that one leg along with that. For much more convenient, you can arrest the both legs generally. What happens when you arrest only one leg, the other leg is relaxed, then it's very difficult for us to shift the victim. So always it's better we have to arrest the both legs. If nothing is available next to you, then we have one more leg, right? So that you have to utilize here, and make sure both legs are joined like this. When you join both legs, there must be some gap. Generally there must be some gap. To fill that, if you have some blanket or a shirt or something, any cloth, something, roll it out and then put it like a stuff between two legs, and then take a three piece of cloth, or if you have any rope, you just need a three ropes to arrest the entire leg. Okay. Generally what happened when the person is sitting like this, Below the knee you have a gap, okay. Through that gap you have to insert the rope or cloth, whatever you're trying to arrest the leg, right? So that you have to insert and then take it to thigh region, and one more cloth you have to insert and then move into the ankle region, and one more thing you have to insert on the below the knee itself. Okay, so three portions: one on the thigh, one on the knee, one on the ankle. These three region we supposed to arrest tightly wherever the injury happened. No worry about at all. Okay, wherever the injury happened, you have to arrest the both legs, entire portion you have to arrest tightly. So and then make sure you're putting some stuff inside the leg and then arresting tightly, so that it's very convenient and it feels relaxed for the victim. It's completely immobilized. Now you can easily move the victim. Most of the time, this is also not required, where we can just wait for ambulance also by providing some ice packs if nothing is available next to you, and there is some water packet is available next in the next very shop, the very next shop, and then you can able to get some cold water or ice pack something, and then keep that next to the wound area, so that the victim feel numb and the pain will be reduced. That is the maximum thing we can able to do, because when the fracture happen, what happen, immediately swell will come, immediately swell will occur, and then excessive pain, it's not able to bear, as I mentioned earlier. So make sure you have to numb the area and you have to reduce the pain little bit. This is going to help to reduce the pain alone. It's not going to cure the fracture and all. Okay, so until ambulance comes or until we are shifting the person to hospital, to reduce the pain, we can use the ice cube, but otherwise it's not playing any other major role. And if it is arm, any one of the arm got fractured, okay, we have so many things to help here. Okay, if you're wearing a shirt, say if assume that I'm wearing a shirt, what happened, I will remove the second button or third button, and then I'll place my broken arm in this shirt. This is one great option we can instantly we can able to do. But most of the time when we are in the sports activity, we'll always wear that dry fit, right? So we don't have that option. But in case if you're wearing a belt, okay, remove that belt and then put it like a grand line, and then hang your broken arm in that. That is the better solution we can able to do. Or is there any towel next to you available? Is there any shawl or a dhoti is available next to you? Take that and then tie around in the neck, and put the arm in that cloth, and then ensure that entire region was covered with cloth like this. This is actually called sling, so that we are ensuring the broken arm is keeping on the rest area. If nothing is available, if there any table, just keep the arm on the table for some time. What all you're trying to do is immobilization. If you're further moving apart, then the victim feel very inconvenient. To reduce the pain, you have to place the portion in some standard area. So for that, anything is available next to you, that you have to utilize. Vallavanukku pullum ayudam, like that. Like that first aid is whatever the source is available next to you, that you have to utilize here. Then give some presence of thought and then look around you and then make use of it. Okay, apart from this arm and leg, if any other area got injured or broken happen, you have to follow the acronym called RICE. RICE. What is the RICE standards for? Any area like a neck, spinal cord, this is very sensitive area. If you do any mistake further, then the entire body will go to what to say that paralyzed. Yeah, the entire body got paralyzed immediately. After the entire life will be in the wheelchair. So to avoid such, you have to make sure that you are not moving that region further. Okay, and you have to keep the victim there in a convenient procedure until the ambulance comes. For that, you have to use the rise. Or when the victim facing some dislocation, you no need to fit that. We are not expert in that. If you are expert, that is also advisable. You can do it in the hospital. Apart from that, it's not advisable. So anything happened in the spine bone, anything happened in the hip, okay, these areas are very sensitive, and the important first aid is, do not attempt anything. Do not attempt anything. Okay, so what you supposed to do, just follow the rise thing. Okay, rest, ice compress, and then compress the wound, and if required, elevate. Okay, what is rest? You should not move the area, right? So give proper support to the wound wherever the victim, whatever the shape he is, let him be like that, and then put some proper support for the injured area so that it will be the pain will be reduced and the victim feel convenient until the ambulance comes. That's good enough. In this kind of situation, especially for fracture, even the fracture is on arm or any of the leg, we can wait for ambulance more than 2 hours. Nothing going to be wrong here. It's not a life-threatening situation where if you are not addressing at all, okay. But anyway, we are going to shift the victim. Rather than we are shifting in our own car, it's always better to call an ambulance because ambulance have a proper equipment to carry the victim, shift the victim, and they'll provide treatment on the road itself most of the time if when they're based on the victim's requirements, right? So provide proper rest in the injured area and if possible get some ice cubes and provide the ice compression so that the pain will be reduced. And if any bone come out and then it's the portion was damaged and the bleeding is occur or the portion got swelled excessively, then you have to arrest the area. To that you have to compress to with some cloth. You have to tightly compress the area and if required you can elevate. For the better support you can elevate. So always keep this in your mind. No need to do some action. Better you can recall the rise in any of the fracture situation. Rest, ice, compress and elevate. Okay, so this is some common medical emergencies, bleeding and fracture so far we have seen. And the other thing, as I mentioned earlier, if anything happens, if apart from this, due to heat stroke or a BP, sugar or a normal unconscious state, anything happen, we have to follow the term called basic life support. Okay, this is a common man that providing medical care until the ambulance comes. Very simple term, right? So until ambulance comes, the basic support, whatever we are giving, that is called basic life support. In this situation, you have to follow irrespective of any kind of event it can be. That's mean no need to worry about whether it is in a sports related active or a road traffic accident or in something happen in our home environment or office environment. Everywhere it's the same. Everywhere it's the same. That's you have to follow the same procedure only. It's a 6-step process. Step number 1 in the BLS, what you're supposed to do is you have to ensure the scene is safe. Okay, you have, before you're going to address the victim, make sure the scene is safe. For example, if it is electric shock injury, the person still got stuck with electric source, what you're supposed to do, cut off the source and then go next to the victim. Before, otherwise what happened, we'll also face the same kind of emergency. If it is road traffic accident, make sure vehicles were stopped and then you're reaching to the victim. Otherwise we also face some accident. Okay, right? So advisable is we have to ensure that scene safe first. In this time, the COVID-19 pandemic situation, what you supposed to follow is you have to wear a mask before you're going to address anyone. It can be your co-runner, sport person, or anywhere it can be. Okay, it's always better you have to cover your nose and mouth with some mask and ensure that you're also covering the victim face. It's not only you, it's also the victim. Okay, it's not compulsory that you have to put some mask on the victim, and if there is any hand key or towel something, you can cover the nose and mouth first. That is how we can uh, stop the emergency or COVID exchange can happen. So this is scene safety in this pandemic situation. So step number 1 is scene safety. Step number 2 is check whether the victim is response or not. If the victim is responding, it's very easy for us to address what the exactly victim required. Otherwise, we have to go based on the symptoms only. So check whether the victim is responding or not. How do we check? Generally, we'll sprinkle water on the victim face, right? What in case if we don't have a water or it will take some time to get some water in that situation. So better always use our 2 hands and voice. Human body will react for touch and sound stimuli. So simply use that. When the victim is conscious, he'll definitely react for that. So what we are requesting you to do, gently tap on the shoulders. This area, you know what? It's a collar bone. This is very strongest bone in our body and it won't break that easily. So it's very easy for you to tap. Even if it is opposite gender, I can easily tap, ma'am, are you okay, ma'am? Can you hear me? So raise your voice above the normal decibel and shout. Shout like a ma'am, are you okay? Can you hear me? Can you listen? Sir, wake up. Something you have to try 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Still the person is not responding at all. That's when the person is 100% unconscious. 100% unconscious. If the person is trying to react something, then it's a semi-conscious and you have to keep on do the same so that at one point you will get consciousness. If the victim is conscious, then he will react immediately. He'll open his eyes and then he'll try to communicate something after some seconds. Okay, so this is how you have to check when the victim have a response, victim have a sense or not. That means he is in the conscious state or unconscious state. If the victim is conscious, it's very, very easy for us. So what happened to you? Where are you from? Do I need to call anyone? Do you have your son number? Do I need to shift to some nearby hospital? We can provide easy options. We can do the basic help to the victim based on his requirement. But when the victim is unconscious, that is where it's going to be the huge challenge as a first responder for you, because we don't know who's that guy, and we don't know what kind of medical background he has, and what kind of problem he's going through right now. Nothing. And even you don't need to worry about all those things, first of all, because we are not a doctor. Even if you know what kind of problem, if it is heart attack, if it is bp related issue, we can't do anything also, because we are not doctor and this is not a hospital, this is out of hospital situation. So we have to provide some basic first aid based on the symptoms. So assume in the step 2 the victim is not responding. Step number 1 is scene safety. Step number 2 is you're checking whether victim is responding or not. So you're concluding that the victim is unconscious state. Victim is in the unconscious state. So immediately what you're going to do, call for help. In any medical emergency, don't take it as a, don't try to react as a single person, because it's a medical emergency where you feel panicking sometimes, you don't know what to do exactly, and you really need some support, human support in this situation. So always call for help. Even anywhere it is, when you have an emergency, in most of the time as a first responders, we used to shout for people, sir, can you please help, sir, can you please come. So we have more people, more hands to handle that situation. Okay, so call for people for help, and then ensure that one person was assigned to call an ambulance. No, you no need to call an ambulance yourself, because as a first responder you have to help the victim further, and calling ambulance can anyone do easily. So always assign this task for somebody. Say that, sir, can you please call an ambulance. You have to identify the person and assign the task. Don't say randomly, sir, can someone call the ambulance. No one will do that. Okay, so in this situation the action is more important than the conversation. So you have to identify the person and assign the task. This is step number 3, call for help and activate the ambulance. Okay, and when you are assigned that, then you are controlled this emergency situation, and whatever the requirement is needed, that is also done to shift the victim further. That is readiness. And now you are going to respond to that situation. What you are going to do, you are going to check the victim's vitals. What is vitals? You should know whether the victim is breathing or not. You should know whether the victim have a pulse or not. These are all the vitals. Generally we can say vitals called CAB: circulation, airway, breathing. Okay, so these are all the vitals which make us alive, which make us live. Okay, so how do you know whether the victim have a vitals on that situation? I'll teach you the CAB. Here I have mentioned only B, but here I'm taking some time, and I'll like to teach you for all these 3. Okay, so C stands for circulation. What circulation? It's a blood circulation. How do you know a victim has blood circulation or not? It's very easy. For unconscious victim, all you want to do is take your 2 fingers, place it on the Adam's apple. Okay, just follow along with me. Okay, take your hand, use the 2 fingers, place it on the Adam's apple, and then move your fingers slightly towards right or left, either side. Either side can be fine, and then place the 2 fingers next to the Adam's apple, and you can able to feel your own pulse. That is called carotid pulse. To feel better, you have to raise your chin and then check it out. You have to raise your chin and then check it out. How many of you able to feel your own pulse? May I know? Can I see the thumbs up here? Coach K, alive?
I can't feel it. No, perfect.
Yeah, okay. I think a few people have raised your hands. I'll stop after this flow. I will detailedly address about the question and answers. But right now, I just need some confirmations whether you can be able to follow me or not. Okay, because the flow once interrupted, then it's very difficult to put into the order, because it's a six-step process, right? So kindly excuse in this. So what we have learned so far is how to check the carotid pulse for adult from Adam's apple to from Adam's apple 2 inches right or left. Okay. So this is how you have to check whether the victim have a pulse or not. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sujata. Thank you. Thank you, Pratima, Sanjay. Thank you so much for your response. You can able to feel your pulse when you're alive. Thank you. So next is C. After C is A. What is A? A stands for airway. Do you know what is airway? That is passage between nose to lungs. The passage between nose to lungs. This is how the air is getting in and coming out, isn't it? So this is look like a L shape. This is look like a L shape. Most of the time, what happens when we are in the unconscious state, we'll be like this supine position. You can able to see the victim here, right? In the PPT, the person is lying down, right? So this is how we are going to be in the most of the time when we are in the unconscious state. So what happened in this situation, due to the gravity force, tongue will fall back. Our own tongue will get relaxed in our own neck region, so that it's arresting the airway passage. It's our own tongue will fall back and it will arrest our own airway passage. You know, most of the people not aware about these things. This is a small thing, but it will ensure the persons lose their life. So tongue fallback is the most serious and the damage serious thing in the unconscious state. We have to release that. Okay. How do you do that? How do you remove the tongue fallback? The tongue will be in the inside the mouth, and the victim is unconscious, and putting 2 fingers in the mouth and then pulling tongue out. It's impossible, right? Then how do we do so? Then the simple technique is it's called head tilt chin lift. Okay, you have to place one palm on the forehead, another hand 2 fingers on the chin bone, and then do head tilt chin lift. It's very simple, guys. It's literally like a raising your chin. It's literally like a raising. You raise your chin. If I say raise your chin, please, then you can do this. But for unconscious victim, it's impossible. So in this image, in the PPT, you can able to see the person holding the forehead and then holding 2 fingers on the chin bone, and then he's trying to lift the chin. This is like ensuring the passage. When you're so thirsty, if I offer some water bottle, how do you drink water? You'll raise your chin and then you'll take water, right? You'll take lot amount of water. You can. It's very easy to gulp. What all we are doing in this situation, we are ensuring that passage got increased. The same thing we are doing it. You are just increasing the passage by you're straightening the curvature a little bit, so that what happened, the person can breathe easily. Even the tongue falls back, the passage extended, and he starts breathing. If due to the tongue fall back, the person got stopped breathing, then you can able to feel a symptoms. You're saying gasping sound you will get. Okay, don't get panic. Don't feel that you did something wrong. Okay, in this situation, you have to assume that now only you have released the tongue fall back, so that the person started breathing again. Don't get panic in this situation. Most of the time, we'll get panic and then we'll close it again. We'll close the chin and then we'll say, now it's clear. Everything is perfect. So we should not do that. Yeah, Kishore, I think I'm reading some messages right now. Yeah, Kishore, we are recording it. Thank you so much anyway. Thank you. Fine. So this is A. A stands for airway. Common airway obstruction is our own tongue fallback. To avoid such, we have to do the head tilt chin lift. Okay. So this is one thing. And then third thing is B. B stands for breathing. How do you know whether the victim is breathing or not? It's very simple. When the lungs is working properly, that means it's squeezing and expanding. We can able to see the movement on the chest or abdomen. So if chest is rising or abdomen is rising and collapsing properly, then that's when the victim is breathing normally. Okay, but the problem is most of the time during the unconscious state, the person in the medical emergency situation, he may breathe feebly, and that time you cannot able to see the chest rise properly. So advisable is we have to check in the side area, but right now in the pandemic situation, the COVID-19 situation, the advisable is don't go close to mouth region or victim region, because we are already covered our nose and then victim nose, and we are ensuring that we are maintaining 2 feet distance and all nowadays, to stop spreading the COVID from one person to another person. So in this situation, you should not go closer to the victim nose and all. Just in the side angle, just knob your head and then look at the chest region in the side angle and see whether the chest or abdomen is raising or not. If it is raising and falling, that's when the victim is breathing. normally. So this is good enough for you. Okay. For all these things, whatever I have covered last 5 minutes or for more than 5 minutes, you have a time to check in real time only 5 seconds or maximum 10 seconds. The thing is, you have to open the airway and then you have to feel the pulse and then you have to knob your head and then check whether the victim's abdomen or chest is rising or not. For this purpose, you have only 10 seconds because this golden hour, it's a medical emergency. You have to go further and provide immediate help. Okay, for checking pulse alone, for checking breathing alone, if you are spending 5-10 minutes, then God only can save the person, right? So we have only 5 to 10 seconds to address the situation. Based on this only, as a first responder, we are going to help the victim. That is why I'm giving enough time to address about the CAB vitals. Okay, so if the victim have a definitive pulse, the victim is breathing normally, then and the victim is in the unconscious state, then we can't do anything. We have to shift the victim to hospital, but we can ensure one thing, that victim is breathing further until the ambulance comes. The victim have a pulse further until the ambulance comes. For that, what we have to do, we have to put him into recovery position. Okay, here there's a small animation which we used to play, how the tongue fallback will happen and how you're supposed to remove that airway.
The head and lifting the chin will pull the tongue away from the back of the throat and open the airway. Don't press too hard on the soft area under the chin. Doing so can block the airway. Also, don't push the mouth completely closed.
Okay, no need to make it as 100% straight. That is also going to impact the spinal injury. So it's gently do at the max. That's good enough. Okay, so I'll play this animation once again. See that how the tongue is folded back and then it's stopping the airway. When you do the head tilt chin lift, how it is allowing the air get in. I'll play this video once again for you.
Tilting the head and lifting the chin will pull the tongue away from the back of the throat and open the airway. Don't press too hard on the soft area under the chin. Doing so can block the airway. Also, don't push the mouth completely closed.
Okay, so this is airway opening method and the victim is breathing. Now you know that the victim in an unconscious state, but he's breathing, he have a definitive pulse. Then put him into recovery position until the ambulance comes or until he'll recover himself. I'll tell you how to do that. It's very simple way where you are kneel down next to the victim and ensure that you're raising one hand which is very closer to you, like a L shape, like a police stop sign. Okay, place it like this. Assume I'm in the floor and you have to place the hand like this. This is step number 1. Okay, take the another hand and then place it on the opposite shoulder like this. This is step number 2, V shape. Okay, so this is step number 1. This is step number 2, and lock the face on the folded hand and then make sure you are bending the opposite leg like a capital A. Place one your palm below the knee and then ensure you are raising the leg like a capital A. You can able to see the image number 3 here. Image number 3 is ensuring that how do you supposed to raise the victim's leg. So this is the leg bending position, capital A. Now what you're going to do, hold the opposite knee and then hold the opposite shoulder of the victim, this portion. Okay, I'm like this knee. You have to hold the shoulder and then opposite leg and roll the victim towards you. In this situation, in this gravity point, as a school kid can put any victim in a recovery position easily. So image number 4, look at the image number 4. This is how the victim supposed to be at finally. You have to release the leg. One leg supposed to be straight, another leg, whichever the leg you have bended and rolled it towards you, that's supposed to be like a side stand. That's ensure the body turns only one off. We should put the person into one off. This is literally look like we used to sleep in one side, right? Every day night we feel very convenient, right? That is oru kalichi padukkuradhu side la. So Tamil வந்து ஒரு கழிச்சு படுக்கிறதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. That's the same way we are putting, that is medically called recovery position. And also you are ensuring the hand, whatever you are placing on the shoulder, that's kept on the floor and then using as a pillow for the victim's head. So this is how you have to put anyone into recovery position. Why we supposed to put someone into recovery position? Why not in the supine position itself? In the supine position, tongue will fall back. That is one major emergency, right? And second thing, in the benefit here is the head is below, heart is 1 or 2 inches above, so that more oxygenated blood flow to the brain. When the brain cells are receiving enough adequate oxygenated blood, then it started the victim starts the victim body gain consciousness immediately. That is why the position called recovery position. The person will recover immediately. How long it will take time? If it is normal faint, we have experience in all the area in the sport. Even it can be in the sport related injury or emergency or on the road or in the office environment. We have seen so many people gain consciousness after 2 minutes. So recovery portion is always best portion to gain the consciousness, because it's ensuring more oxygenated blood reach to the brain, okay, which is very important. And in this situation, the chin is up and the tongue will be in the original position, that's been facing towards the earth. So tongue fall back will not happen. Number 3 is any liquid in the mouth. The victim is puking and the victim have saliva is inducing that we have to clear further. Everything will come out, because when the victim is unconscious, he is unable to gulp his own saliva first of all. In that situation, what you will do? You cannot wipe everything, right? So put him into recovery position, it will automatically drop down and we can easily clear the mouth. So it's always better in this position. And make sure once in 10 minutes, if the victim is not gaining conscious, once in 10 minutes, you're changing the position from right to left or left to right, because we can avoid the numbness in the body. Okay, so I'll play a small video about what is the recovery position. Okay, so hope you have seen the recovery position video. And I have to address one more small thing here, and then I'll conclude this BLS flow. Whichever the side, I'm addressing the question based on the keys mentioning in the group chat. So whichever the side is safe, that you have to roll the victim. After that, you can turn into another side after 10 minutes. So no need to worry about right or left at the first step itself. Okay, so whichever the way is convenient and safer for the victim, turn it around. When the victim is not breathing, when the victim is unconscious, there is no pulse, there is no breathing, then don't assume or don't conclude that person is no more under. You have to assume that the vitals are not functioning. Vitals mean CAB are not functioning. So what you supposed to do in that situation, you have to provide the first aid called CPR. What is CPR? It's a cardiopulmonary resuscitation. In this, whenever the victim is unconscious, you have to do the first aid called CPR immediately, so that it will ensure that brain receiving adequate oxygenated blood after that also. After stops functioning also, we are artificially pushing the, using the heart and then artificially pumping the blood to reach the oxygenated blood. Otherwise, the brain cells will start dying. So that situation leads to coma. Most of the time, coma occurs. What happened? It's very tough to recover the victim most of the time. So to avoid such, we have to provide immediate CPR, so that most of the time the person gains consciousness, the person get the vitals back. So this is again one more magic first aid. But people are still thinking that CPR can done by only doctors. But most of the time what happened, the situation will happen in the home or office environment. Heart related emergencies are happens in the office or home, right? So on that time only we are next to the victim, so immediate CPR is always going to helpful. So you have to provide CPR is one of the first aid. So in which order we supposed to provide the CPR? The vitals order. What is the vitals? What are the vitals? Circulation, airway, breathing. So go in the same order. First, we are going to talk about circulation. So what we do, we have to push 30 compressions on the chest. How much deep we supposed to push? It's supposed to be 2 inches depth. And how many compressions per minute we supposed to do? Heart generally beats 72 or 75 per minute, but here we supposed to do 100 per minute speed. Generally in the wall clock only 60, but heart's working more than that, but we supposed to work more than the heart. So 100 per minute speed we supposed to do the compressions here. Fine. How we supposed to locate the heart and where exactly I have to compress the chest? I'm going to play a video. I'm just asking you to pay the attention in the video because I'm going to exactly locate the point where you're supposed to place what, everything. Okay, so now you have to remove the clothes, okay, and you have to check the rib cage joining point. We have a rib cage joining point from there 2 inches above. Okay, from there 2 inches above. I'll slowly play this video by pausing and playing. So look at here. They are drawing the V bone first, rib cage joining point. From there 2 inches above, that is lower half of the breastbone. There you have to exactly place your heel. What is heel? You should not place your palm. You should not place your finger also. You have to place the heel of your palm. This portion on the heart, wherever you have located. It's supposed to be like this, not like this. Assume this is the chest. You have to place the heel like this. Okay, so this is how we have to do compress, and place your another hand and do interlock for the grip and proper support from the other hand also. So you have to lock the fingers. I'll play the video now. And go 90 degree above and ensure your elbow is straight. Your elbows are straight. Most of the time what happened? Our elbows used to bend. Okay, when you bend, during the compression, if you bend your elbow, what happened? The pressure will divert here itself. We have to throw the entire body weight on the victim's chest. Then only we can able to squeeze the rib cage at least 2 inches depth. Okay, I'll tell you how hard the rib cage is. Now the exercise for you. Take your hand and then locate your V point. It's very difficult. Obviously, it's very difficult. So locate your V point, whereas the rib cage is joining. From here, from the V point, move your fingers 2 inches above. That's been between the nipples. Okay. So look at this portion. It's like a slab. Okay. It's a joined bone and slab kind of thing here. And try to squeeze this portion. I'm asking you to squeeze this portion at least half inches depth. No need to go for 2 inches depth, at least half inches depth. You can't able to do it, and it's really very painful also. So this is the reality. So that's why we have to go 90 degree above on the victim's chest, and then you have to make sure your elbows are straight and you're putting your entire body weight by using your waist. Only your waist supposed to be compress the chest. Okay, fine. So I'll play the rest of the video. So go 2 inches deep. I'll address the chat backs. I'm just explaining the chest compression. I'll address the chat backs comments later. So you have to push 2 inches deep. What happens when you push only half inches depth or 1 inches depth? It's only squeezing the chest muscles and bone. When you push 2 inches depth, then only the pressure is reaching the heart. The oxygenated blood will crush out after that only. So push hard always. Push 2 inches depth, and you have to follow the rhythm called 100 per minute speed. Go at least bit fast rather than slow, bit fast. Like you have to count like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 30 you have to go. 28, 29, 30. So all the 30 compressions, from 1 to 30 compressions, you have to count louder. That is rule number 1. And you have to push hard. All the 30 compressions you have to push hard. If any compressions you are not putting enough pressure, then you can ensure that you can easily conclude that you are not reaching the heart on that compressions. Okay, so you have to push hard. And another thing is you have to release the chest also. Whatever the amount of pressure you are providing, and you have to release that. So 0 to 2, 2 to 0. That is how we have to compress. Then only we can use the heart properly. So this is how we have to provide the chest compression. By providing this chest compression, what we are ensuring? So by providing this chest compression, what we are ensuring, we are sending adequate oxygenated blood to entire body. Just 2 more minutes, guys. I'll address all the chat box options. Here is the small animation video for you that explains you whatever you do on the chest. That's replicated in the heart. That's ensuring heart blood reaches to the brain, pressures reaches to the various parts, and it's also ensuring the inhale-exhale process. In the real time, when you provide the chest compression, you feel like you're providing the compression for heart flow. At least here in the animation in the video, you can able to see some chest is bending down, right? But in the real time, it feels like you're providing a compression for the heart flows, for a wall or a flow, something like that. You feel very painful here and all, but the video is clearly explaining you that in the animation is clearly explaining you that the blood circulation is still happening after your compression. So always the compressions are welcome. Okay, and so how long you supposed to provide this? In this pandemic situation, what AHA is recommending is you have to provide 30 compressions followed by check whether the victim has started breathing or what. Okay, open the airway by using the head tilt chin lift method and then check whether the victim is breathing or not. You don't need to go closer to the victim's nose. You have to knob your neck and then check whether the victim is breathing or not. If the victim is not breathing, go back for the 30 compressions again and then open the airway and then check whether the victim is breathing or not. If no, go back for the 30 compressions. This is how you have to go through the cycle. How long you supposed to provide? You have to provide until the ambulance arrives to the spot or until the victim starts breathing his own, or when you feel very fatigued and you are unable to provide the chest compression further, then stop CPR. It's not compulsory that you have to lose your or you have to compromise your life and then save others' life. Okay, take a 30 seconds break and then continue further or call for help. As I mentioned earlier, you can please call people for help and ask them to do whatever you do. Okay, you provide 30 compression, ask them to provide 2 compression, or you take for 2 minutes CPR and then let them take for 2 minutes CPR. Like that, we can ensure the heart is reaching non-stop compressions. Okay, so this is how we have to provide the CPR. What is the BLS flow? Once again, I'll play it here. Scene safety and check for responsiveness. If the victim is not responding, immediately call for help and activate the ambulance. And by someone activating the ambulance as a first responder, you supposed to check whether the victim is breathing or not. If the victim is breathing, put him into recovery position. If the victim is not breathing, start CPR immediately. So this is the final BLS flow. Fine. I'm going to address a few common medical, whatever the questions raised so far in the chat box. And this is time for you to clarify your doubts also. I'm going to read one by one all the comments here. Okay. Any specific site for recovery position? No. Side A, side B, both are fine. Absolutely fine. There is no recommended site. Okay, what is 100 compressions per minute? Can you please explain again? So 100 compressions per minute mean the heart generally beats only 72 times or 75 times per minute, right? But here when you providing when you do heart job from outside, artificially you're trying to squeeze the heart, right? So in that time you have to go for 100 per minute. Based on the result, when you put 100 per minute speed, will at least balance the 75-72 compressions like a normal way. So you have to put much more effort than the heart, then only we can match the heart rate. So that is why you have to start count like a 100 per minute, generally 60 per minute seconds, right? So here you have to count like a 100 seconds per minute. So count a little bit faster rather than counting 1, 2, 3. What I'm saying is you have to count louder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Any maximum cycle we can do the CPR maximum cycle. The minimum cycle is 5 cycle. That's mean 30 compressions followed by checking the average. That is 1 cycle. Likewise, we have to do 5 cycles within 2 minutes. After 5 cycles, by the time you finish, it's exactly like a 2 minutes. Okay, so this is bare minimum. Bare minimum one person supposed to do. Can we provide water to an accident victim? Okay, I'll quickly address this with your permission. Okay, no, we should not provide water to the any medical emergency victim, because that's not going to help the victim. That's going to make the situation further worse. Because when the victim is panicking, when the victim heart rate is very high, you should not provide water. As a sports person, you should know that when your heart rate is very high, you should not take water, right? You calm down yourself, and then you take chip by chip water, right? So when the victim have any medical emergency, the pulse rate will be very high. In the panicking state, when you feed water, that may cause for heart attack, cardiac arrest. Okay, that is one thing. And second thing is, when the victim is unconscious, when you feed water, that will lead to the lungs, not to the food pipe. That is how this epiclotus, this in the trachea and food pipe will work on that time. Okay, in the unconscious state, do not provide water. That is why I'm saying not even sprinkle water on the face. Use your hand only. So do not provide water when the victim is unconscious. Only you have to provide water when the victim is conscious and clearly feeling about himself. I feel so thirsty. Can I have some water? Then you feed some water to the victim. Otherwise, should not. Mr. Vinod, the video is not showing in the blowing over the mouth. Is the necessary? It is necessary, but not for the bystanders. There's a two different kind of CPR. One is CPR, that's mean chest compression followed by do rescue breath. That is paramedic, first aid trainers, and first responders and doctors can do. For a bystanders, general public, at least once in a month or once in a year, they will face some this kind of situation. They can do only hands only CPR, where that skips the rescue breath portion completely. You can provide chest compression and check for whether victim is breathing or not, because it's required a lot of practice. Then only you can able to do it. If you're taking proper practice, and you can do it. But in the pandemic situation, the AHA advisable is do not attempt a rescue breath, because going closer to the mouth and nose areas region is dangerous nowadays. So you should not provide the rescue breath until the pandemic over, until we'll receive the proper guidance from the AHA, because AHA is the world mother body. Their curriculum only, the entire world is following right now. Is there any certification course for CPR? Not only just CPR, Mr. MP Kamala, Ms. MP Kamala, the Alert is offering so many certifications courses. In that one is Alert Voice program. In the end of this session, we are going to address about the certification course and in details, registration details and all. Pump 100 minutes. Yes, if you can able to compress 1 minute 100 compressions, you are good enough. But most of the time, what happen after 20, after 25, by the time 30, you feel very gasping. You feel unable to do further. So that is why we are stopping at 30 and then giving some 5 seconds to check whether the victim have a pulse or not, that kind of activity. Otherwise, if you have a stamina, you can continue for 2 minutes 200 CPR also, 2 minutes 200 compressions also. Vinod, this is for you, as you're raised, right? I'm not aware if I can measure 2 inches deep. So pressing beyond it won't be impact, right? Most of the time it will impact Raghav, but we no need to worry about whether we are going to break the rib cage or not breaking the rib cage, because if the person bone is very weak, then we are doing 2 inches depth. Sometimes it can be break, but no need to worry about the rib cage breaking and all, because it will break only in the curvatures, not on the flat area here. These bones are very strong, and it have a ability of going 2 to 2.5 inches deep always for the adult. So you can put pressure. If anything happens also, it will break only here. That's not going to damage any of the organ. And as per the AHA guidelines, what doctors are saying, it's very easy after that for you to compress the 100 compressions or 200 compressions or until ambulance comes. You won't feel tired and all. Okay, so it is advantage for the CPR performers. Yeah, Mr. Sandeep Nanda, too much crowd is not expected, but in the country like India, that one which we cannot avoid. People will be there always, but most of the time people will not do anything. They will just see, they will just witness the situation. But as a first responder, only we have to call people. The good heart people are there always. They don't know what to do exactly. So we can point out one person, sir, can you please come forward? Can you do this? They will come automatically. If that person is not coming, at least the person who's waiting for some chance to help, they will come forward and they will help. Rest of the people anyway going to be there. No need to worry about them. The crowd always will be there.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks a lot. All right, thank you very much, Karthik, for this insightful introduction to first aid, and also a lot of interesting, at the same time important emergency medical response procedures. These are absolutely important for every single human being, and especially those who are connected in the endurance sports and relate to a lot of these injuries that were discussed today. So I would like to take this opportunity to alert and its management for providing me this opportunity, and also talk about few specific endurance sports related common risks and remedies. This is from the point of a runner. I'm a coach, and I've kind of compiled a bunch of things. Some of them we've already seen, but I would like to present everything in one single page and pick up only a few things, and also see if we can address any specific questions that the audience might be having. Let me quickly go to the next slide. Okay. Now, these are some of the common issues that we come across as a runner, as an endurance athlete, like cyclist. So cramps is mostly a problem. We saw earlier from Karthik how we can address once the cramps have occurred, okay, in terms of just stopping your movement and resting for some time and recovering. But how can you really prevent cramps from occurring? It's actually a nightmare. Those who have, especially the cramps come on the marathon day, okay, when you have a performance goal, especially when the finish line is just 2 kilometers away. That's when most of the runners or even cyclists cramp. Combination of factors, a lot to do with your muscular endurance, your electrolyte imbalance, and then there are also other physiological conditions. So one is prevention. The prevention can be addressed only by proper training, making sure that you are including the race day specific activities. Now, so for example, most of the time we train at a particular pace, train in different conditions, and then on the race day, the conditions are very different. If you're training in Chennai, you go to another city for the performance running, and especially Hyderabad. Or if you're in Hyderabad, you go to different place. Or some of our Indian runners also go to outside of India, you go to Europe, the weather conditions are very different. So the operating conditions are very different. So we generally go with certain benchmark in our mind, expecting certain performance standards. But on the race day, you have to factor those operating conditions. Could be high humidity, it could be cold, it could be your diet and nutrition. You might not be eating the same food that you're used to having before a race at your hometown. The conditions are very different. So always go with, as a coach, I always advise this, that go with not so much of an expectation. Don't be so critical on your expectations, and then try to enjoy the entire process of running or cycling. That's going to make sure that the experience is very memorable. And even if the cramp occurs, you just need to calm down, chill down, let the PB wait. Okay, it could be another race. You can come back with better preparation. So that is about on the aspect of cramping. Of course, heat and hypothermia are two different issues. If somebody is in a cold place, going to a hot and humid place, the heat-related issues you'll have to deal. And suddenly, we always talk about Hyderabad Marathon. It rained the night before. There's a lot of humidity. You're not adjusting your pace and marathon day goals according to the heat and humidity issues. So that also becomes a problem. The racing strategy should support or consider those heat and humidity related issues. The hypothermia is something that generally in India you will not come across, because this is a cold, extreme cold related issue. but we're not going to worry much about that. Of course, accidental falls can happen if you're in a hurry, especially you are a slow runner, but you're very ambitious to start with the elite runners in the front pack. And then you've seen people tumbling and falling. Sometimes the start line is not very safe. Some of the marathon events, you will see wires crossing, or there is some red color mat, which is kind of curled. So you don't need to rush. The first 1 kilometer need to be absolutely a quiet moment between you and the race. Believe in all your trainings and you're not going to hurry. I'm talking about all the preventive measures. You know, once you fall, of course, you've learned to address the fall. If you have broken wrist or broken bone, somebody else hopefully knows how to respond to that kind of an emergency is going to help. But how can you prevent? So that's really important. So you need to take extra precautions. And then, of course, chest pain is one common issue. It's a very debated. We also keep hearing about endurance runners collapsing and extreme aspect of dying. It's a very sad kind of news we keep reading now and then. It's also quite shocking, but it is not quite a common issue. But when something like that occurs, it gets blown, magnified out of proportion. It's like a plane crash, right? So planes are definitely considered to be one of the safest mode of transportation, but when one accident happens, everybody talks about that. So chest pain, listen, if you have any pre-existing medical conditions, hypertension, if your doctors have advised you to chill and relax and then exercise, but then don't overdo. I think those are some important warning that you need to take care. And then, of course, breathing issues. A lot of people are allergic and asthmatic. The EIA stands for exercise-induced asthma. Please take precaution if you're susceptible to asthmatic condition. If you're suddenly going from Chennai to, let's say, a weather which is dry in nature, and suddenly you see an allergy reaction. Your breathing system is stressed and you don't know what to do. You try to, again, stress out by running and exerting, and then asthma attack can lead to very complicated kind of damages. So it's better to listen to your body. If you have any history of asthma, make sure that you're carrying protective equipment. Could be medication, allergy, acetylene inhalers. But also, I've seen people pushing hard by taking some anti-histaminic medicines one day before the event and then trying to push on the race day. They are going to make you drowsy. They're not really the right kind of medication for you to attempt before you go and do any performance-related sports. And of course, side stitches is the most common issue faced by absolute beginners, but it's going to go away. Just keep moving. If the side stitches occur, of course, there are some techniques available. You can apply pressure on that place where the pain is kind of a sharp shooting pain, and then try to breathe out heavily. But slow down, walk down. If you're a beginner, if you're experiencing side stitches, trust me, I've gone through this when I started running way back in 2011. It will disappear one day because your body adapts to those running stresses. Side stitches will definitely disappear. And then very important thing is gear check, right? So the reason why I put gear check is related to falling. If your shoes are not, correct, very old shoes, worn out shoes, and the many runners I've seen at the start line when the race, the gates are open, they're stopping in the middle of the road, sitting down and tying the legs. Why can't you learn how to put 2 knots? Okay, there's just the second knot is actually not just going to save you from the fall, but also a pack of runners who are right behind you. There's going to be a stampede there. You can always avoid those kind of things. And of course, when you're running, you also need to be aware. We talk about falls. It also could be the road conditions. I've been to Comrades Marathon multiple times, and I've seen people just collapsing in the middle of the road. For a stupid possible reason, you see this highways, the road it's a road run. In the middle of the highway, you see a thick, small cat eye. Okay, that's for the reflection. That's for the guideline for the just the lane markers for the vehicles. People fall and trip. So you need to be aware of where you're running, where you're stepping. And of course, when you're running in trail, it's a whole different experience, right? So it's not completely same as most of the runners I've seen. I've been to Malnad Ultra, I've been a kind of race manager for Malnad Ultra. I've seen a lot of first timers coming and very ambitious about achieving. They don't understand the trail. They don't understand the nuances of running in a trail run. Their body is not physically fit. It is not very agile, but you still want to accomplish. But those are, I'm not saying that, I'm not asking you to not go there. Please go there, enjoy the experience, but don't have bigger expectation. Make sure that you're taking safety precaution, because once you fall, tumble down, there is a fracture, you're all alone. Probably the support system is not really good, and you're going to get into much more troubles. And then, of course, a lot of food and drinks related allergy. Do not eat any food, do not eat any gel and electrolyte that you're not familiar with on the race day. That's why the training part is really important. And people with diabetic condition, I have seen in my own races, UT Ultra, Bison Ultra, there are many people who come there with pre-existing diabetic conditions. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you overhydrate, consumption of electrolyte is going to shoot your sugar level. But if you don't consume your electrolyte, you're burning sugar, and then you're going to the other extreme of low sugar condition or a hypoglycemia condition, which is also not safe. So that's why you have pre-existing diabetic hypertension kind of condition, you must be really, really careful there. And hyponatremia is a very rare condition, but it's also a very dangerous fatal condition. Runners, I've seen cases of people basically fainting somewhere in the middle of the course. Especially this happens in ultra marathons because mostly with first timers, different temperature conditions, you're overhydrating. When you overhydrate, and of course you're also going to flush out all the vital minerals that your body requires. And when the vital minerals are depleting, let's say your sodium is depleting, then that's going to hit you, right? So it's a very dangerous condition, so don't overhydrate. And of course, you need to know how much to drink, how much to eat, how much to consume, the timing of your fueling. All those things are really important, so that should be part of your training plan. And then last, it's not an injury or a risk or a remedy. When you get runner's high, if you're ultra endurance runner, you'll also go through hallucinations and you will see ghosts. You will see certain objects, UFOs will appear in front of you. I keep joking, if you're running an ultra marathon, you will start seeing all the gods, okay, that you would have never seen in your life. But anyway, this is just for a fun part. I've added this statement because it's going to make you addictive. It's kind of an injury. Running too much of running is very addictive. And then you're basically going to go back and sign up for another event. So these are a small set of most common issues that runners face. And then, of course, I'll take any questions you might have in the section. So, Karthik, are there any questions?
Okay, only related to first aid so far.
All right, great, thanks. That means everybody has understood everything that I said. Thank you very much. All right, so now how can you address all these issues? Very important thing is you are having a realistic goal. You're not pushing yourself unnecessarily. The SMART goals are really important. Structured training is definitely going to help you. And of course, I'm a coach. I run an academy. COVID time, I've got a very special program designed. This is just for a few seconds of display. I'm not selling a lot of things here. If you have any questions, you can write to me, coachk@kf.in. But now I want to move to a very important topic. This will be the last session. As you're aware, Alert has been an NGO since the last 14 years. They've been doing a wonderful service to the community. They have trained more than 140,000, and today another 67 people are added. I think that at the max count, I saw about 67 people. Thank you very much for showing the keenness in learning the first aid topic. Now, as an NGO, Alert has been doing a fabulous work, and I have a very heart-to-heart connection with Alert and its initiators. And I've been supporting Alert as a volunteer. I'm also a voice ambassador, volunteer in case of emergency. In fact, 2016, I launched my own campaign called Be Safe, Be There to Save. Be Safe, Be There to Save is both, it addresses the prevention part, so our personal safety is important, and then Be There to Save is learn first aid, like the way that the like time that you spend today is really important in your life, because when you know what to do, when you know what not to do, then you're empowered. Okay, so you can help people, and when you can help people, we have a society of trained individuals. Others can help you too, in case if you are in distress. So now Alert conducts Alertathon. I'm sure a lot of you have participated Alertathon in the past, and there are also global audience this year. Due to pandemic, we decided to go global, and then this will be the first ever virtual endurance event addressing this topic of saving lives and developing more aware emergency response or first aid trained individuals. That's a very ambitious but a small, humble beginning. I'm very fortunate to be the event director for Alertathon even this year. Last 2 years I've been helping with conducting this race in Chennai. This year we're going global. So the event window is between 9th to 13th of September, just 2-3 weeks away. So we are I'm sure as runners and endurance cyclists, you would have already been familiar with virtual events, but this is another very important cause that is going to be addressed through this virtual event. So come and participate. When you register, you're actually paying that money for Alert to conduct these kind of sessions. Okay, so I know you probably know that you did not pay any money for this session. This is exactly what Alert does. Alert want to spread awareness on first aid across the globe, across the country. Because even in what I've just recently come across a research report done on how is Australia prepared when it comes to first aid and CPR. Alarming statistics. Okay, we think that there's a lot of people who rely on the advanced life support system. You make a phone call in the US, you're familiar, 911, 2 to 3 minutes, the response time. Either a first responder comes, or an ambulance comes, or a fire engine comes, or a police comes. But even with that mature setup, we hear people losing lives, and which is very unfortunate. So the inaction, your inability to understand, appreciate the situation and respond is not a great answer. We might end up losing somebody or let somebody paralyzed for life. So a little knowledge and awareness is going to help you. So the Alertathon is basically designed to give the experience of an endurance event, but at the same time help you learn these modules. Now, how can you contribute? Very simple, contribute 200 rupees minimum. The maximum contribution can be anything. You can walk, run, ride. We have connected with the HDOR platform. Alertathon has got a HDOR platform connection. So when you register, you get a code to link your HDOR account to, again, link to your Strava and Garmin and other running and riding tracking applications. So you can use those applications to contribute to Alert's cause. So when you're running, when you're riding, every kilometer that you ride or run, it counts. That means that you're pledging your support to the cause of saving life. And then, of course, it's not just a sporting event. It's not just an endurance event. Even though there is a leaderboard concept, there are no prizes to be won. Everybody is a winner here. You will also get to learn 5 modules as part of the first aid and emergency response. I'm extremely happy to say that 67 people have jumped the gun. Okay, so you're already aware. You don't need to really wait for the event window, those 5 days. You're already aware of a lot more topics, but still wait for those 5 days to come, and then you will have a lot more. It's always first aid skills is something. There is nothing like, okay, you learn once and you don't need to learn in the next 2-3 years. There is nothing like that, because every single day the procedures are changing. So for example, now with the pandemic, the safety norms are very different. When you approach an accident victim, you don't know whether the person has collapsed because of cardiac arrest or because of COVID related issue. So how do you know what to do, what not to do? Emergency can happen anytime. So the only way you can address that situation is by learning, okay? And visit alertathon.com, and like to see all of you participating in this event. It's a beautiful event. 67 people, I want you to go and register. Minimum contribution of 200 rupees. If you're in India, US dollars 10. If it's going to be outside of India, we also are supporting our neighborhood countries, the SAARC nations. They're also treated like an extended Indian citizens. They can also pay rupees 200 to participate. With that, I would like to thank Alert for giving me this opportunity, and also thank you, all of you, for your patience and also interest and keenness to learn this very important topic. Thank you so much. Karthik, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kay. Thank you so much for sharing your informations and the knowledge to others. Back to that questions I have read. Few people raised about what's that? Diabetic. Diabetic. We don't have any much things to do. We have a very certain life-threatening situation. Have options to help few things in the name of first aid. So most of the time, we have to go to doctor, we have to take a proper treatment, and we have to take the doctor consultation. Based on that only we have to work on that. And in CPR, I have to address one more thing. Few people were raised about the 2-inch depth and then 2-hand compression is only for adult. Okay, and I would like to address about the genders here. I mean, I have to address about the age limit here. Okay, that is adult, for adult who was 16 plus or 15 plus, who grown completely and the bones are very strong. For them, we have to use the two hand and 2 inches depth. And for a child, for especially school going kids, okay, for them we have to use the 1 hand and 1 inch depth. That's good enough. For infants most probably newborn baby up to 1.5 years, 18 months, 15 to 18 months, something like that. For them, we have to use the 2 fingers perpendicularly on the victim's chest and go half-inch depth. Just 2 fingers and half-inch depth is good enough. Okay, so this is how we have to ensure the CPR for the age category people. And I would like to take a few more seconds here to pay your attention. Most of the people, one person was asked, is it possible to conduct the program for employees in his office? Absolutely fine, sir. We have kickstarted our online free training program for general public since April onwards itself. So you can approach us anywhere. If you have my number or alert number, anyone's number or mail ID, you can feel free to contact us, so that we'll definitely able to help you in that. And people whoever wants to increase your skill level or increase your especially that skill level in sense, this is just a awareness rather than zero. At least we have some basic awareness about how to handle the situation, but still you need more practice and hands-on, especially hands-on practice that make you more confident and to approach the and handle the situation. So we strongly suggest that you please become an alert voice. As Kay mentioned, most of the people in Chennai, they are being alert voice ambassadors, but here it's a alert voice. The program title is called voice, stands for volunteer in case of emergency. You can become a first responder. This is India's first online voice course that is also helping you to it's a network-based first responders community where you will become a first responder in the Alert Voice app, and whenever if any emergency occurs from your place 1 kilometer around, you will get notification and you can go and help if you are available at that time. So this is how we are doing the demand and supply by using the technology. And this is also helpful for you to certify yourselves one thing, and you should know, you can gain your knowledge and skill level, and any incident happens through this online 7-day training program that make you to nothing to worry. I will be there. I'll help immediately. I know how to handle. That much of confidence will boost you, and then will give enough. Because we are setting that much of time, and then we are feeding that much of information to you. It's going to be 7 day, every day 90 minutes course. Okay, so there are so many runners in this group who have participated in this program right now. Have been already as a voice in this online program. So it is always great that you can register yourself for a thing where you can go and register. It's a www.alert.ngo/voice/course. Okay, so there you have a registration. You can just go and fill your registration. After this course, you will be assessed by Apollo Medical Hospital emergency department chief doctor. He will check whether you are learned in a right order, you know everything, whether you can able to handle any situation. After that only we are make you as an alert voice. We'll certify you. We'll certify in the name of graduation ceremony, where we'll provide photo ID card and certifications to you. Along with, you have a reflector jacket. You can able to see the person here wearing the first responder reflector jacket like that. We'll provide one thing, and along with some comprehensive first aid kit to handle the medical emergency situation. So that would really give you more confidence to handle any public environment also. So we'll suggest people to log in for this, and then you have much more information in the website. You can check it out, or feel free to contact us anytime, and then you can enroll for this workshop. And ALERTATHON, yes, thanks to Mr. K, he was addressed about this already. And I would like to thank you.
Karthik, I'm sorry, there is one question that was asked offline, so let me answer that before you show that.
Yeah, okay, please.
Okay, so there was a question from Mala. She said, run, cycle, walk distance as part of the ALERTATHON will be mentioned separately or added together. So the event encourages participants to walk, run, or cycle. Please note the HDOR system will recognize walking and running together and consolidate as part of the walking, running. So this is going to be in under one heading. Walking and running will be combined. Cycling will be separate. So we are going to take effort in making sure that the certificate, the e-certificate that you are going to receive, it will contain the walking, running distance and the cycling distance, and also all the modules that you complete during the 5 days period. Okay, so that's something that will be taken care by us. And then now there's a second part of the question is, while registering, I'm committing a distance. If it is not fulfilled, will the participants still be awarded the certificate and medal? Please note, this is not a competition. There is no minimum distance commitment that you need to fulfill. And you don't need to worry about specifying 25 kilometers and completing only 24 kilometers. We're not going to reprimand. Alert is, the cause is much more important. The participation is important. The support that you provide is important. But we're not worried about whether you complete those, whatever distance that you complete, that will be mentioned in the certificate. But if you don't, if you contribute for Alert's cause, but you don't participate in the virtual endurance event, even that is possible. You don't have to worry about, I have registered for ALERTATHON, but I cannot run, walk, or cycle due to whatever limitations. It could be you're part of a containment zone, or you're in home quarantine, or you really don't want to venture out during this COVID season. It's perfectly acceptable. We want all the participants to exercise safety precautions and also respect the local government laws. You know, we don't want people to violate and then say that, okay, I participate in ALERTATHON, I'm in the jail right now. Okay, that's the, we certainly don't encourage you to do that. But you will get your certificate, the t-shirt that you order, medal that you order, it is for the support. It is also a souvenir. This is no way tied to any performance expectations as part of the ALERTATHON event. Last question. Okay, fine. So the second question I will address directly to Mala. All right, thanks, Karthik.
Yeah, thank you, K. And here I'll take one more moment to thank our patrons who made this situation happen and who made this session is possible today. So sincere thanks to Ashok Leyland and TNKG Foundation and Bhavan Cybertech. And thanks to one and everyone, one and all here who were spending last 1.5 hours, more than 1.5 hours, and then being patient and listening what you are saying. And I hope that 1.5 hours was very useful, and you would have learned so many new things today that would really going to help someone's life. All what we are putting effort here is only to save someone's life. We don't know who's that guy, we don't know who's that fellow, where we are going to meet that person, and what situation we are going to, where we are going to meet them. But we are just preparing for that. And through this, we are going to save more lives. Join us, join Alert, and save lives. Thank you so much for the wonderful session, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, go and register for ALERTATHON. We'll love to see your support happening finally. Thank you so much.